So, as you know, this is a topic that I hold dear to my heart. Saving and making sure that all of these things don't creep upon you, and making sure that you are planned and you're ready. And a lot of these things happen because you didn't sit down and you didn't write them and you didn't really have a budget. So that's why we have amazing guests in studio who are going to be telling us how we can make sure that we keep our coins together, okay? Social Hour starts right now. Thank you so much for making it, gentlemen. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
I know it's very early in the morning, so thank you so much for coming through. Tell us your names and what it is that you do.
Well, thank you for having us here on K24 Alfajiri. My name is Waithaka Katumia, and I work for Centonomy, where we believe that everybody has the ability to create wealth. And so we're training on personal finance. We also train on a couple of other things, such as entrepreneurship. And now we're actually training on career development. So we believe everyone can create wealth. And so this is a really good time for having us on. As you plan for the year, January is a really, really good time to plan for that. So let's discuss it.
Let's talk about it. I like it. Thank you so much, Waithaka. And what is your name, sir?
My name is Maina Azimio. I'm a businessman and also a trainer. I am a graduate of Centonomy.
Oh,
and
okay.
When I went to Centonomy and I learned how to relate with money, I decided not to keep it to myself.
Okay.
So I have a company called Azima Wellness Trainers. We train financial wellness. We train health wellness. And this January, we are looking at how we can help people to navigate through the hardships that they are going through for sure.
Yes.
Because December we spend like there will be no January.
Yes.
Now that it is with us, we've got to survive through it.
Yes.
And more important, we want to get people to do things the right way this year so that come the next December, because it's always, January always come.
Yes.
They will not go through the hardships that they are going through now, but we'll try to see what can be done to at least make life manageable.
Yes.
Yes.
That is true. Waithaka, why do we do that? Why do we overspend and forget as if January is never going to get there?
I think in a nutshell, I think sometimes we're in denial. We're in denial because we don't realize that there are limits to what you can be able to achieve with what you have. And so you say, you know what, let me just enjoy myself, and whatever happens in the future will take care of itself. Unfortunately, that is not sustainable over time. And so we are in the business of reminding people that January is real, it's coming up, and there are tricks and that I wouldn't even say tricks. They're actually tools that you can be able to use to prepare yourself for January and be able to enjoy yourself without any guilt. And one of the things that we train most about is to tell people, please pay yourself first. That means that you take care of your actual needs before now you go out and pay everyone else. Because there are all the entertainment joints, all the eateries, all these different places. We're paying them when we take money out of our pocket and give them, isn't it?
Yes,
so why don't you pay yourself first? Begin by saving and investing first. And then in December, the best thing to do to keep yourself afloat, pay your January bills in December. So for instance, my wife and I, we paid for our rent, we paid for all our costs, utilities, all those things last month.
Whatever needs to be
exactly.
done.
So that right now, we are working with January as if it has not even happened for us in our home. And that's what we try and teach everyone. And as you can see, Maina, who's one of our alumni, he's already training others. And that's the key. If we can all get this right as a nation of savers, wealth is possible for everyone.
Yeah.
You know, we always think that you have to put someone down in order for us to get up, to rise up. I think if we are all saving, if we're all investing, as a nation we become wealthy, and it's going to be really exciting, because what that means is there's more money to go around and more money to spend, even on those things that you love.
That is very true.
Yeah.
Now, the saving culture is not for many. It's very difficult, really, for a lot of us. We just, you feel like maybe you should pray on it. Maybe you'll start next month, tomorrow, next month, even na save. But maybe most of us don't understand how saving works. So where does it start, Maina? Do you save fast, then spend? Do you spend, then whatever is remaining, that's what you save? How does it work?
Thank you very much for that question. And it's very important to do whatever you do using a formula. If you have no formula, you'll never get it right. I normally crack a joke and say that my mother has got so many formulas in cooking. She knows how much water and how much unga will make good ugali. And this is the same principle that you need to do everywhere you are, including in your money. So we work and earn money, either which way you do. But when the money comes to our pocket, we spend without a plan. So do you have a spending plan? And you have to work within your means, the ones that you have. First and foremost, you list down all your expenses, all the things that you need to do, and how much money they're going to cost us. there's a very good module that they train in Centonomy once you get there, so that you're able to, I was able to track my expenses when I went through the training, and I came to realize that I was making mistakes because I didn't have a plan.
Okay.
So the moment you plan for your money, you will spend responsibly. First and foremost, you don't spend, then save. You first save the amount of money that you have planned to save from your income. Mm-hmm. Then you spend the rest.
Okay.
But what we do in Kenya, the mistake we do also is that those who save, they don't multiply the money that they have saved. Because saving is one thing, but is the saving kit growing? So where do we place it? Where do we invest it? Because
you don't invest it, you keep it in the bank. It's safe there. You believe, you know.
The
if
bank,
they have a gad at night, you're good, the money is good. That's what people do, right?
And the inflation, we don't think about inflation.
No, we don't.
Inflation like now in Kenya is operating within 6.5%. So the money that is in the bank is 100,000. It is reducing because of inflation by 6.5%. Then the items that you would have bought with that 100,000 today will not be the same by the time you go to spend the money. So we need a plan. Basically what you asked is that how do we save? We do not have a saving culture because we are not socialized that way. Yes. In fact, our schools and our parents, even churches, they don't teach us how to relate with money. And that is the biggest problem that we're having. I thank Centonomy because what they are doing, they are coming to a space where it is not covered. Even in graduate school, they don't teach. In the University of Nairobi, you actually got to learn how to become a manager, to run a company, an organization. But how to relate with the money, we are not given that kind of a training. So it's very important that we get our people to understand this, because you can't do it alone.
Yes, you can't, and it's very true. Now, he really said something very interesting, that the money that we save, which we put it in a kitty, we don't know how to multiply it, which is also very true. Here in Kenya, what we believe is investing is buying land, but there's so many other options. At the same time, there's so many quacks who come in the name of brokers, and they tell you, oh, you should buy this, and you should get these bonds, and you should buy. But then they're not really fully aware, and they don't come from a point of knowledge when they explain to you what you should be investing in. So where should you be getting, all of the pointers on what it is that you should be, saving and investing in?
That's a brilliant question. Thank you for that. It means that we must start with education. As he said, we now are training from teenagers on how to manage their money. Why? Because if you don't have the education, you don't have the ability to ask the right questions of those experts, so-called experts, in whatever area of investment it is. Even real estate, when you talk about that in Kenya, we know in Kenya that is the Kenyan dream, that at some point we'll own a plot of land somewhere, that we'll build our house and live. That's what most people are looking for. And so our point of view at Centonomy is that we must have the right education to ask the right questions, because there is money in this country. We see it, and the country is actually growing. There's a reason why so many companies and so many world leaders are coming to Kenya, because there's a lot of potential here. So money can be able to grow, whether it is the stock market when you're investing in businesses, whether it is going into investment in businesses by yourself as a venture capitalist or as an angel investor. You can also invest your money and save your money in bonds and treasury bills. You can save your money and invest in terms of real estate. But if you don't understand how each of those work, you find yourself in a huge hole. I'll give you a good example. Those people who invested, for instance, in the Safaricom IPO, a lot of people felt like they were cheated. But a lot of people those who understood the stock market made a lot of money on the Safaricom IPO because they understood it.
What mistake did we make?
You see,
get to
remember, this is what we're talking about. Remember, these were the quacks and those who were trying to sell it up and saying that, buy the share at 5 shillings and it's going to go up to 40 shillings and you'll be able to sell it and make your millions at a go.
Yes.
No, that's not how it works.
Yes.
You're investing in a good company that over time, since then, those who bought it at 5 shillings, can you imagine the stock now is over 20 shillings now? What have they made over this period of time? It's over 500% return because they understood it. But those of us who came in and said, oh, the stock has gone down to 2 shillings, what am I going to do? And they sold it off. They were selling to the same people who understood that this is a good business and I'm going to invest in it. So you must understand the market in order to be able to invest well, and the possibilities are endless.
Yes, they are. No, but you didn't start like this, Vaidaka.
No, I didn't.
So then, what happened?
You see, I tell this very embarrassing story about myself because, you have to start somewhere. My wife and I, we did this course, Centonomy, in 2012. We were just newlyweds. We were enjoying life. We were both in good jobs and everything, and we were challenged, track your spending. And in the first month that we actually put down every cost that we had for that month, we found out that we were spending more on takeout food alone than our rent. Can you imagine that? And so when we saw it, we realized, you know what, we're actually richer than we think. The only thing is we're spending the money on the wrong things.
But people think takeout is when it's from a fancy restaurant. But even just to buying dideri down the road
It was the two of us spending maybe between 300 and 500 shillings at the office. You know, somebody comes and offers you food, and you're doing it daily. You can imagine two people, 500, that's 1,000 shillings. In a week, you've spent how much? 5,000 shillings. In 4 weeks, it's 20,000 shillings. And you're not going to spend the same amount on the weekend. You spend much more, isn't it?
True.
So when we did it and we're living in an apartment worth 28,000 shillings, and then you look at how much you've spent more than your rent. And so we said, this is not sustainable. So we had to find tools that were going to assist us to be able to overcome that. And it's simple things. It doesn't mean that now we became Pishibora, both of us. We weren't there. So what did we do? We found a chef. We pay him 2,000 bob, and he comes and he cooks up a storm for the whole week. 2,000 bob versus how much? 5,000 that we were spending for the whole week, and we had extras to have along the way. So it's not about, you know, everyone thinks now January is about tightening the belt. No. It is about wisdom and where you're going to be able to put your money. So these things are possible, and many Kenyans are beginning to achieve this goal. As you see it moving forward.
And we see people drinking Monday to Monday, no matter what day it is, no matter what time it is. I'm like, yo, I am living life wrong. These people look like they're having fun. Maina, what are some of your tips that you have understood over time help you survive in January?
January is
January Ninja.
January is a very interesting month. But they personally love January.
No way.
I love it. I love January because whenever I see a problem, I see opportunities to make money. In fact, what happens is that to make it big in business, you identify a need in society and also a problem.
Yes.
Then come up with ways to solve that problem.
Yes,
and you're in business.
The mother of invention.
Like right now in Kenya, we are in a situation that the rains have failed. So food is becoming very expensive and scarce. People have finished money, they don't have money now, and they must survive. These are needs that they can actually not do without. Electricity is going up. You see the dams are drying because there's no water now in the dams. So there's no more need there. The banks have become a bit stingy with their money because after the capping on the interest rates, they have become a bit stingy with their money. But the survival has to be there. So what happens? We have a company called Azima Ventures Capital. In Azima Ventures Capital, we saw a need, a gap. The people who are not able to access money from the banks, but they need to move on. So we came to fill in this space because the more people we have who are in the business of making wealth in this country, the better we are. And I have been seeing that, because honestly, let's say the truth, the kind of salaries paid in this country cannot make you to sustain your life comfortably when you look at only the salary alone. You need alternative income. Warren Buffett says, if you do not have a system that generates money for you when you are asleep, you will work until you die. And a worker is a poor person.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yes. When you are working, you are a poor person because you can only survive with that fixed salary. When you go to business, you realize that there is income that comes through. But again, if you don't have the knowledge on how to manage the money you make, you will not be able to grow wealthy.
Yes.
Basically, what is important in life is that you must understand money that you earn is seed, is a seed capital. Yes. If you eat the seeds, you finish it up. But if you plant a seed, look at it this way, one seed of maize when you plant, you harvest a comb of maize with so many seeds. So you are multiplying. If you have the same policy on your money, the money that you earn is a seed, then you plant it and generate more of them, you multiply, you become wealthy. And the plan that you do, you make sure that once you earn your money, 10% of your money, of course, the government, you have to pay taxes.
Oh, I thought you were talking about tithe. I was like, okay, so the church and then another 10% for the government.
You save. You must save.
Yes.
So once you save that money, we had mentioned earlier that you need to put that money in a kid that is growing.
Yes.
Like Iveka has just mentioned about Safaricom. But after I went to Centonomy in 2014, I had not been investing in shares because I actually didn't know. Knowledge is key here. Knowledge is power. And I'm very happy that I learned from them, and I'm also doing the same. When I learned about how to operate in Nairobi Stock Exchange, 2015 and 2016, we made a lot of money from Safaricom because it was actually operating at 12.40. Then we bought shares in 12.40. Then we sold them at 21 shillings. That is more than 95% appreciation. Yes. So each 1 million that we put into Safaricom's share, in 1 year, we were getting another million, double.
So it's just that we don't understand it.
Knowledge.
That's the only problem.
It's
knowledge. We don't understand it. Now, there's quick loans that we take in January. Is it appropriate? Does it make sense to take them? How can we avoid them?
How can you avoid them? Simply just, I know it's difficult to say this, especially because right now we're in it. You know, and when you're in a stressful position, you have bills to pay, you have all these things. It's the simple way to be able to solve that situation. And so, you know what, if you must at this time, because we realize your children must go to school, you must eat all these different things. If you must, then do so, but don't do it next year. Because the fact that we're already in January, we may have those problems already. And I'm not going to advise people not to continue with the lifestyle that they had. But what I'm saying is plan for January 2018 now. This is the time to prepare yourself so that you don't take that loan. And if you do take that loan, if you do, pay it off as quickly as possible, because interest is going to be drawing you backwards when you should be moving forward in terms of your investment. So if you do take a loan, please pay it back as quickly as possible. If you can avoid it, please do. Please do, especially if it is not a loan to purchase an asset. You see, if you're purchasing something that is going to just continue to eat up your resources, it's a liability. And so we don't want you to be in liability all through your life. In fact, we call it, often we call them flossets, things that that are not building you up. So please, 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 if you do take a loan, pay it back as quickly as possible. And if you can, please avoid it. If you can jikaza for January, just decide this month, you can even switch off some of the things that, the pay TV and other things that you don't really need in life, so that for next month you're prepared to build up from that position.
What is your take on taking a loan to start a business? Is that advisable?
Let me look at it another way. Okay. When you think about for instance, the massive growth that we have in the real estate industry right now, when you see all these massive buildings coming up here and there, the truth of the matter is most of these people have not saved up enough to be able to do that. They've had to leverage and actually use debt in order to do it. Yeah. So debt to purchase or to invest in assets, and assets, a business is a really good asset because it's going to be bringing you some income. Hopefully, it'll continue to grow, so it's appreciating in value, and it'll protect your capital, because generally, if it's a good business idea, it'll continue for a long time. If it is for an asset, then debt is usually a good idea, because what it's going to do is it'll speed up the growth potential for that enterprise, whatever enterprise that is. So it must be for an asset, and a business is a good asset, especially if it is a good business.
Yeah. So cars are not business assets. That's not what we're talking about. It has to be appreciating, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Every single year, it has to appreciate for it to make sense.
You know what? We always give this example in the class. If you go to purchase a car from a dealership and you pay 1 million shillings for that car, and you drive to the gate, right to the gate, you don't even leave the gate, and you decide, maybe I don't like this car, and you just reverse, and you go back in and ask, can you buy this car back from me? They will not give you 1 million shillings.
They will not.
They'll take off another 40%, and you wonder, where did that go? So it's already depreciating the moment you sign the document. Why do you cannot call that an asset?
Yes.
So an asset must protect your capital so you can get back what you invested. An asset must appreciate in value, so it's not just what you put in, but you get more, and it can give you an income. That's what an asset is.
That's what it is. And now, yes.
Allow me to cut into this.
No problem.
This is a very emotive debate, and I would like to talk about the loans. Because what I've realized, like I was reading last Sunday Nation, and there was an article that was saying that 80% of Kenyans have borrowed money from the mobile monies.
Yeah, they send you text every 5 minutes. Don't you get them?
Yep.
They do.
Yeah.
And this is serious.
It's up to 500,000.
It's very serious, by the way.
You can get it on your phone.
And we are borrowing to consumption loans. By the way, this is very serious because you are paying it at a premium.
Yes.
So you have, in essence, that if you borrowed money and you bought food, you have bought that food for higher than what you are supposed to buy it. Yes. And again, it also said that text said that we are borrowing money to pay those loans. So you're digging a hole to fill another one. Kenyans are trapped on debt.
So you're stuck there.
Yes, they're trapped on debt.
Yes.
And most people are getting auctioned because the auctioneers were even saying that they're having so much work. There was an article that was saying auctioneers are having too much work because most people are borrowing, they can't be able to pay. This is serious. The question is why? And what should we do about it? Because I think we need to offer a solution to our people. Because this is a problem that most cannot get themselves out of on their own. So they need help.
You know the money is accessible, Maina. It's right on your phone. And you get all these messages. It tells you, if you want 200,000 right now, you can get it. And it keeps looking at you. And you have no money. And you're like, I'll pay it back.
At what cost? Ask yourself,
but
at what cost?
But no one's thinking like that.
No, we need to.
That's the problem. Okay, we need to.
Because it's very painful when you're paying it because you are sabotaging your growth process. Because without capital to invest, you'll not be able to invest. Another big problem we are doing is that people are borrowing money to buy houses, to stay in. The house you stay in does not give you any money. In fact, it's a faucet, like a car.
But it appreciates. I mean, that one goes back
Which one appreciates?
The houses, when you're buying the houses, right?
Yes.
At what rate?
No, when you're buying a house, when you're paying a mortgage, does it not?
I agree
At what
with
rate?
You, but this is, and Maina is correct when he...
Not to pay the rent, but if you're taking a loan to buy a house.
Yes, Amina.
Yes.
At what rate?
Until, this is the thing, the house is not an asset until you either sell it or rent it out. Because other than that, aren't you paying rates to the county council?
You are.
Aren't you maintaining the household?
You are.
Aren't you paying utilities?
You are.
Is there any money coming into your pocket,
No.
or it's all going out, including the mortgage at the same time?
It's constantly going
so
out.
if this is the asset that you're saying that it is, you would have to at some point sell it. And this is the saddest story that we have right now in Nairobi. If you go to some of the leafy suburbs around Nairobi, and you find some of these houses are dilapidated with some retired folks living in them, and they cannot be able to maintain the household that they worked for 20, 25 years to begin to own, because they have no other income coming in to support them in that home.
Because you constantly just
That's it, because all you're doing is putting money into this thing. And so it only becomes an asset when, imagine, you have to move out of your dream home to go live in a small apartment in order to have some income. So you must realize that before you get yourself into that trap. There must be other streams of income, in order to support it. And it is possible, because in those same green leafy suburbs, you will find some homes that are doing beautifully, because those people understood in advance that it cannot just be my home that I've invested in. There must be other things that I'm investing in that are bringing in streams of income to support me in this wonderful thing that I've bought. And so it is possible. It is really possible, and it's all about the education.
Yes.
And that's why we came into this business as NJAANUARY, because we're helping you to understand. You can hear one of our alumni here speaking. We're helping you to understand.
What a plug-in. What a plug-in. You guys need to send us money. Thank you very much.
We are going to do so. We will do it.
Anyway, now before we even continue getting into that, because I'm, of course, pretty shocked right now, but you learn something new every day, and that's what we do right here on the show. We make sure that you're learning and making sure that you understand where your money goes. You work hard every single day. Some of you right now, you're watching us from your office. If you, it's now 8:30, that means you woke up at around 5 to make it to the office. You work up until 5, 6, maybe 7. You're getting back home 10 o'clock, including traffic, everything. It's been a long, tiring day. And at the end of the month, you have nothing to show for it. I think that needs you to look back, reflect, and think about what it is that you need to do to make sure that your money is growing. Now, for most of us, we think that saving, it only needs to be done at the end of the month. But no, it needs to be done on a day-to-day basis. Take a look at this.
You probably already know some of the basics, like how making your own coffee or bringing your lunch to work can help you save hundreds of dollars a year. If you're doing that, definitely keep it up. But let's look at a few other ways you can save on everyday expenses, and how some simple decisions that you make every day can help you save money. The supermarket is a great place to start because there are a lot of easy ways to cut down on your shopping bill. You may already be doing things like making a list to cut back on impulse buying, clipping coupons, or using apps to find deals, and even looking at the price per unit to help you get the most for your money. But there are even more ways you can save. For example, when you see a sale or discount, be strategic. Sales and discounts can be great opportunities to save on things you need, but stores often offer incentives for items that a lot of people wouldn't normally get. So it can pay to be selective when considering any discounts you might be offered. And while you're considering priorities, spend on what's important, save on what's not. For example, For some people, things like organic foods or your favorite brands might be important to you. For others, what's important may be different. The point is that it might be worthwhile to spend a bit more on the items you care about, but look for ways to save on the things that are less important to you to keep you on budget. Making simple trade-offs like these can help you save money without giving up what's important. Finally, before you even make a shopping list, consider your actual eating and cooking habits. A good idea is to plan your meals ahead of time, or challenge yourself to eat at least one more meal at home each week. This may help prevent you from tossing out spoiled groceries that you didn't eat, or ordering takeout because you didn't buy enough food for the week. This can save you hundreds of dollars each year. Keeping with household expenses and bills. You probably already turn off the lights when you leave a room and unplug gadgets when you aren't using them, right? But there are some other small changes you can make that can help you save even more around the house. For example, did you know that most utility companies charge more for electricity during different parts of the day? Peak hours, like the middle of the day, when more people are using electricity, often have substantially higher rates compared to early mornings or late at night. Doing your laundry or running your dishwasher off-peak can likely help you save on your utility bill. You can check out your utility company's website to see if they list their peak hours or contact them directly. Let's move on to transportation. Gas prices can be unpredictable, but technology could be a way to help you save. There are plenty of websites and apps that can help you locate which gas station in your area might be offering the cheapest prices. And depending on how often you drive and where you live, you may consider ditching your car altogether. Public transportation might be one option. And there are a number of car-sharing programs that allow you to affordably rent vehicles short-term. And for the truly dedicated, how about biking? It's certainly a cost-effective and healthy alternative to both driving and public transportation. It can be easy to follow others into overspending. But try getting creative and occasionally plan activities with your friends and family ahead of time that can help you avoid temptations like a spontaneous meal out. Saving money doesn't have to mean sacrificing fun. It pays to take some time to figure out where you're spending and what you're willing to cut back on. You don't necessarily have to do the math on every single decision you make, but being mindful of where your money is going and how simple trade-offs here or there can add up over the long run can help you get creative and find your own ways to trim costs every day.
Surviving January actually, is what we're talking about this morning. Now, for a lot of us, we think it's too late. It's okay. I have already wasted so much of my money anyway. What good is it going to be to start saving today? But Rebecca is telling me it's never too late. Make sure that you are contributing and joining the conversation online. We are on hashtag K24Alfajri at K24TV. I am at Amina_Kenya. And you can also reach us on our SMS line 21222. How about you call in and ask a few questions? You know, at the beginning of the year is when we set resolutions that we might not keep, but it's okay. And it's also when we decide where we want to be. A lot of those decisions depend on our finances, whether it's going back to school, whether it's starting a new job, or turning into that entrepreneur that you've always wanted to become. So call in, ask questions. We have Maina, we have Waithaka. Now let's talk about, when do you start that saving culture? When does it begin? And what do you need to do to make sure that you don't fall back off the wagon? Because it really happens quite easily, actually. I think
this is the best advice that we found in most homes. Those who have found wealth and created true wealth started as early as possible. So we encourage you, if you have children, the very first time they begin to handle money, let them begin that savings culture. Buy a piggy bank so that they keep putting a shilling or whatever change that they get into that piggy bank, and show them the reward of it at the end of the year. Say over the Christmas period, you know, we've been talking about helping with the holiday period. Over the Christmas period, break that piggy bank and go and purchase something that they really want, because that sense of reward that they'll get at that point will inculcate that saving culture into their mind, so that over a lifetime you're able to do it. I think the best way, and I said this is the tip that I want everyone to go home with: pay yourself first, because everyone else does.
Okay, Waithaka, I have 30K salary. All right, so help me break it down.
Yes.
What am I paying myself?
What are you
Remember,
paying?
I have bills and I have one kid.
I know it is difficult, but it is possible. If you track your expenses, you'll be shocked how much you actually spend on things that you don't need. Secondly, pay yourself first means, okay, by the time your salary comes to your account, the government KRA has already taken their portion, isn't it? Yes. The next thing, invest and save and set a reasonable amount. Out of that 30K, maybe it's 5,000 shillings that you can put aside, or even 2,000 shillings. The issue is not the amount, but the discipline over time to save and invest. So even if it's 1,000 shillings, put 500 into your savings account, 500 into an investment. It is possible to do so. But the key is the moment that you do it. If you do it after you spent all the other things that you're doing, it's not going to be possible because there's no end to what you can be able to spend.
Let me pick a caller with that. Just stick a pin right on that point. We're going to get back into to that. Good morning, K24 Alpha G. Hello.
Hello, I'm Rafael from Bika.
Yes.
I wanted to know about the Sendonomy. When are they offering the courses and how do they charge?
Well, if you stay on the line, they should be able to give you a website where you can go and visit and ask all of those questions. So just stay on the line and they'll give you all that information. Is that okay?
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Now, actually, even if we talk about the school, now for those of us who can't afford to pay the fee, we can get all of this information online, right?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, you can. Okay, so you could just maybe go and Google is your friend. Google, and I know there are YouTube tutorials as well that guide you into trying to save money. Try and use all of those bundles that you're getting from your, dividends. Anyway, so now getting back into to the point. So we were talking about saving. I had 30K. Let's go.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. So choose an amount that is sustainable over time, that you can understand. Based on your salary, I think I can be able to do this. If I put aside even 1,000 shillings, 2,000 shillings, and save it and invest. So those are the two things you must save and invest. The savings are going to help you in case there's any emergency that comes along the way. And we all experience emergencies, whether it's medical, whether it's family, and all these things. That's the money you'll use for that. But the investment is something that's going to be growing and accruing money for you. Then the next thing come all your bills. You must pay your landlord or your mortgage, whatever you're going to do, school fees, utilities, all the things that must go out there, and then your food, obviously, and all that. But the key is to do the saving and investing first. It's about the timing of when you do it. Because if you wait to the end, it's not possible. As we have all experienced, and I've experienced it myself. Before I got into the culture, it's very easy to just spend, 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 and not invest. And those who are wealthiest in this world have understood that principle. And this is the joy about it. Why do we save and invest? The reason is we want to spend. But it is to spend on the things that matter to us. Yes. Not just on the 10 bob to buy that, the maize on the side of the road, then the next thing you're paying a tip to the watchman who's taking care of your car. You know, those different things. And you don't realize that over a year you could have spent 5,000 shillings easily simply on tips.
Yes.
And if you imagine if you invested that 5,000 shillings, what would it have given you? But it's in order to spend on the things that matter to you. That's what we save and invest for. Yeah. It's not just to keep and to be tight. No, we want to enjoy life.
Yes.
And as you can see, someone like mine is here. He's enjoying life. As an investor, he's living large.
He's
because
saying
he's done
his
that.
favorite month.
Yes.
I'm wondering what language that is. And I think I've told this story before. And I work for a gentleman that you may or may not know. He's called Chris Kirubi. Maybe you've heard of him. Anyway, so he's a billionaire. Of course, you know that. And I remember this one time we had a business meeting at the office, and we were 4 of us, and he said, let's go and have some tea. And we went and we had tea, and he had called you for tea, so you can't order anything extra. And the bill came, and he said, why is it so expensive, and why is it like this? And I wasn't understanding. I was like, you should be bawling out of control, because you're a billionaire. And I went on, and it really stuck by me, and I went and I read on. And even Warren Buffett says the same thing. We keep on overspending.
Yes.
So how do you cut down, then, on overspending? Because it says 800, it says 200, it says 300, and then if it goes to the end of the month, it's 30, 40,000. So how do you stop that? Do you make sure that you don't have your ATM card and your M-Pesa is not functioning? What happens?
No, let me say this. Anything that we do is a product of our brain, our mind. Because if the mind has already conceptualized what you want to do, and you discipline yourself to work through this, you'll get results coming in. You had asked a very good question, and I also want to add what Wedaka has said. When do you start? Because sometimes we are living at a place that we feel that we have already messed and we cannot recover.
Yes.
I normally say start where you are. Start where you are. You are able to recover from the situation you're in if you make a mental shift and start operating differently.
Okay.
You realize so many things can be done when you begin and go the right way. I talked about a formula. If you're not working with a formula that is tried and tested.
Take us through the formula.
Yes, the formula is simple.
Okay.
You earn 30,000.
Yeah.
That's the salary we are going to talk about. By the Kenyans, most Kenyans run around that. This is too much money from where I sit.
What? What?
This money, if you manage it well, you are going to make a lot of money. Let me cut into it. The 30, never live with more than 70% of your income. That means 30% of what you earn from the 30,000, you will save 10%, you will pay tithe 10%, and you will contribute 10% for charity. Because you have to give charity. So you don't live for contribution, your life will not be whole. If you pay your bills more than 70% and you don't have the 30%, you are going to get down very quickly. The 10% that you save, it is not to go to stay in the bank. This is the money that we want to invest. And how do you invest the money? You invest that money into instruments that will multiply the money so that you can gain more. And one of the simple things I've been telling people, especially people who are working like you, you do not need to invest in an industry that is going to demand your time. Because eventually, we want, even us who are in business, to come to a point where we will retire from our own businesses and be free of work. And that's the time you say you are financially independent and financially free.
When you can sleep and money is being made.
Yes.
Someone somewhere.
Yes.
Money is getting into their account.
It's just coming in. When
You
you're on
don't know what's
holiday in
happening.
Mombasa, when you're in Seychelles, holiday, money is still coming into your account.
I like your life. Let's take a caller. Good morning, K24 Alpha Jury. Hello.
Hello, is Kavisha?
Yes, Kavishas.
I'm talking to Amina Tindio.
Yes, you are. Yes,
Okay,
you are.
I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
Most of us, like, I'm in university. I don't make much money that I can save it. So I'm asking, what can we do as in tuweke hiyo pesa hapo kidogo, because I don't have that much and I really want to save, and maybe that January or that December or that April I'll be able to enjoy life like the rest of my friends. So that's the question.
Oh, okay. First of all, Kavishas?
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, that's a great name. I love it so much. I've never heard of it. But the one thing that I think is so cool is that he's in uni and he's thinking of saving then. Wonderful. So I think that's incredible,
Beautiful.
right? When you were in uni, that was not the plan. So like that guy, you see, that was not the plan.
It was not the plan, for sure. So he's already on the right track. I think the mindset is where it begins. And again, the thing is, we must also not just stick on the issue of saving. I think God has given us all amazing minds and creativity, and we're all individuals and with all different gifts. It is time to begin to use those gifts and talents that we have to create more income for us. In university, you will be surprised how many of Matiangi's young men and women in high school would require some tutorship. Why don't you use the skills that you have? You made it to university. Why don't you go and tutor some high school students in maths and English, and hopefully we'll have some better results and make some money off that. You know, university students, one of the biggest resources they have is what? Time. How much time do they have in between classes, between semesters, that they can be able to use to create more income? So don't just sit back and say, oh, I don't have money to save. Create the money and then save it. So you have a wonderful, wonderful opportunity where you are at home to begin, especially all those campus students, to create more income in order to save and invest for the things that you care for. And there's so many, we have found examples of university students who have actually gotten to the point where they're paying for their own education because they have realized, I have the time, I have the energy, I have the strength, I have the knowledge. If I apply myself, I can be able to do it. So don't look and just say, oh, I don't have cash. No, create it then. And the opportunities are endless.
Yes, that is very true.
Allow me to cut into this.
Yes.
Kaveke has a very good point, and he's doing well because he's saving. But the problem I see is that why is he saving? He has said he's saving so that he can also be able to enjoy in December. If the only reason for saving is to enjoy, to spend, that is not right.
Oh, so that's also another problem.
Yes, it's a problem.
Which is what a lot of us do.
Yes, which is not right.
You're saving for the
We want to
holiday.
save so that you can invest. Then you spend what you make from your investment.
Oh.
Get this clear.
So that's another formula.
Yes.
Okay.
So you invest your money. You save what you save, you invest. And then the money you get from the investment is what you live in, because your investment will continue generating money for you. Then you are spending what is coming from the investment.
So now, Maina, you mentioned investment, even when we were discussing a 30,000 shilling salary.
Yes.
So what do I invest in? I have 3K, 4K maybe. So what am I investing in? Oh, 3,000, yeah, you said 10%.
Let me give you a very good example, and I'm actually encouraging people to do this. Right now, if you look, Kenyans don't like reading, and when they read the wrong stuff. The Ministry of Forestry in Kenya is encouraging Kenyans to invest in forestry because we have got a very serious wood deficit, timber deficit, cooking timber deficit. So on Saturday, we went to NJAANUARY. We are looking for land to hire so that we can plant trees during the long rains. Do you know how much land is cost in Kenya to hire per acre? 10,000. 10,000 shillings, 1 acre, 1 year. In 1 acre, you plant 18,000 trees. 1 tree for 6 years, Kenya Power cannot be able to expand electricity. That's why they are doing concrete posts now, because the wooden posts you don't have. In 1 acre, which you are going to hire for only, if you hire...
So in 6 years, that's...
Yes, 60,000. 60,000.
That's crazy.
Yes. Then you're going to spend
shillings.
another 40,000 you're going to spend now to prepare the land and plant. And you only take care of the trees for the last 1.5 years when they're growing with their low.
Yeah.
After they have grown, you don't do anything on them. Then you forget, continue doing what you are doing. After 6 years, you come and harvest. 1 acre, you make more than 5 million. In fact, I have been telling people, instead of going to a mortgage to buy a house ready-made, hire land, plant trees, sell the trees, and you make the money to be able to buy the house cash.
So why are you sharing this? This should be secrets that you keep, Maina. Is that also another problem we have?
Yes, another problem. So
we keep it.
To do what with it?
So that you buy all the land. Let us keep it all.
You cannot. There's too much in this world for all of us. In fact, selfishness.
Is it not?
You can't finish it.
You know, you have friends who probably understand saving more than you, probably understand investment more than you, but they never used to tell you anything about it, right? And then now you come to find out, oh, they were keeping it away from you.
In fact,
so that's what I'm saying.
Let me answer that.
Okay.
That question you're asking. Personally, I lived at that space. I worked for 8 years after I left college, and when I decided to go to business, and I went home and told my parents that I want to go to business, my father could not actually reconcile. He was telling me I've grown nuts in my brain. Because to him, a business person was a shopkeeper and a butchery man at home. So he couldn't see how the educated son could want to become such a lousy level. But I knew business at a different level. So when I came to business, I didn't have role models. I didn't have anybody who I could ask how to run business. I made so many mistakes. And I lived at a place that the people I was asking Amina to tell me business, they were saying, Biashara Nisiri. So that means they don't want to tell you so that don't take the business from them. Until I started reading now, Donald Trump, the American president, he has written so many books about how he made his estate. Robert Kiyosaki, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs. I started wondering, if these people are telling the whole world how they made their money, whom am I to just think of myself and trying to hide Waidaka not to know what I do? It is actually even limiting my thinking capacity.
Warren Buffett, 73 billion
by year.
Worth. He's worth 73 billion US dollars. That's a lot of money. And he shares his story too.
In fact, the fact is, we are all born for a purpose.
Yes.
And what I do is not what you do.
Yes.
In fact, you didn't come here to do what I do.
Yeah.
Neither him. All of us have got unique mission to accomplish in this world.
Yeah.
The moment you discover your purpose and live at that space, money follows purpose.
Okay.
And in fact, even when the more you teach, the more you share, like Washeke, she has changed all of us. In fact, I have benefited so much. I'm a different person now after going through her training. See, so the kind of knowledge that you get and you apply it, you move in your own area. And everybody moves in their own area. This world has so much for all of us, and we can never finish. See? So there's, even the ones who are coming in are going to get into it. So what I want to encourage people is, let's look at how we can share the knowledge that we have to grow humanity. Let me say one problem that we're having in this country. Kenyans are basically lazy. Lazy. So we operate in a comfort zone that we need to break from this to be able to grow. So the moment we have been able to conquer ourselves, things start following up.
They do start following.
Yes.
All right. Now, Maina, I want you to look at this video, and then you can. This is describing me. This video is about me, so I want you to just watch it, and then understand what my life is right now.
Tranquilo. Ya está. Tranquilo, va a estar todo bien. Tranquilo, tranquilo. Ya está. Tranquilo, va a estar todo bien.
That's so funny. That's true. It is. I really liked it. I really did. All right. So now, sadly, we're out of time. We didn't even talk about the financial plannings, but I think it all just goes hand in hand. You save, you invest, and or rather, you invest and you save. It's just a whole calculation and a whole formula that Maina has been talking about. Vaidak has been talking about it. You can get their information up on our social media pages. Final comments, gentlemen?
Yes, please. The 3 things. Pay yourself first. Make sure that you do that. Make sure that you get a partner along the way, somebody to advise you. And you'll find, if you find somebody like mine and myself, we're able to help. And as you said, you went to dinner with your boss. He gave you some advice on how to... It was tea.
And he said,
isn't that a good idea?
Yeah.
How many times have you taken your friends for dinner? And your boss is how many times worth?
Yeah. Can you imagine?
Imagine. And
Can you imagine?
And it's the truth. We've seen it
It's
across
crazy.
the board. The wealthiest people know where that 100 shillings went.
That's
and we'll
very
ask
true.
the question. And then lastly, get the education around it. And you'll find it in books, in classes, in various places, and you'll be able to achieve the dreams that you have. It's fun. Enjoy the process. Enjoy the process and you will succeed.
All right. Thank you so much, Vaidaka. Mr. Maina.
Yes, Kenya is a country on a transition. And we have got so much money in this country that but our eyes are not seeing it. So I want to encourage people to think outside the box. You need a mental shift. Once you shift your mind and start seeing the opportunities that abound in our economy and be a player, step out of your comfort zone and do what it takes to be able to get this money coming to you using the right formulas. Because my problem with not making it in life, it's more about the formula that you use. How you earn your money, how you multiply your money, how you spend it, and how you relate to the money. We have no relationship with money. It is time that we plan our life in a way that we know where we are going and where we want to end. And let me add this. If you look at life expectancy in Kenya, life expectancy is growing and growing and growing. Before, when you retire at 60, people used to live for about 5 years to 10 years. In fact, most of the retirement benefit schemes are premised on 10 years. But people are living to 100 years. John King died at 90 years. That means from 60, you have another 30 years to live. Sir Charles Jonjo is 96 now, and he's still driving himself around. Give him 100 years. So the question is, me and Waithaka now, like I'm the older person here now. After I retire at 60, I have got another 40 years to live. The question is, what will I do for those 40 years if I have not planned for it? So I have to plan well.
You can't go back to work.
Yes, you can't go back.
No one's going to employ you.
And our children cannot be able to support us the way we support our parents. This is a different regime.
It is.
So we need a new thinking.
Yeah.
A new thinking and a new way of doing things.
Okay.
We are offering this training such that people can get to know what to do where, because we need to be advised. Simple and clear.
All right, knowledge. It starts with that. All right, thank you so much, gentlemen. I've learned a lot. Waithaka, please stay on so that we can talk more about making my wallet cough more like it did in the video. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Ian, hopefully now we can make some money. Do you think? Do you see?
Well, I hope so. But what I've learned is that you save first and then spend, not spend and then save.
Yes.
That is quite a good thing then.
Yes.
Actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't save for holidays. Yeah. We should save to invest and then spend dividends that we get from our investments.
So did you take like Geoffrey's number?
I have been typing down. This has been a personal consultation. I'm just like, okay, sawa, no problem. So I have everything. Thank you so much for all of the comments that we've been getting on Twitter. The questions I tried and asked as many as I could to the callers. Thank you so much for calling and always joining us every morning. My name is Amina Abdirabah.
My name is Anofula. Have yourself a lovely day. Let's do this again sometime, same place.